plenty happening. We've got blue skies. That is good news here in Beijing. And after a day's hiatus due to that inclement weather, it bucketed down, the thrills and spills of the BMX competition are back. First up, it's the first round of the women's semi-finals. Australia's Nicole Callisto and Tanya Bailey are going to be on track in Heat 2. So for all the action, let's go with their very best BMX speak to Tom Williams and Pete Cahoon.
The cycling start list, the BMX, and it's the first of the women's semi-finals. The French represented by Chanson, Walker doing well from New Zealand, Diaz, Horokova, Fandrick, Sorensen, Cools, and Ma Li Yan. The first of two semi-finals, each semi-final having 3 runs. The fastest 8 women to progress to the final to decide who is the fastest BMX female on the planet. You can see the Canadian there on stream. That's Sammy Cools, 22 years of age. And she is locked and loaded along with the rest of these 8 semi-finalists. And it's the first time the women have raced each other.
Yeah, this is it. The first time that we've seen them go down in their seeded runs, but this is going to be group racing. This is the first moto of the women's BMX. And this is going to be red hot. If you thought it was good fun in the seeded runs, well, wait until they bunch up.
Diaz there, and she, 27 years of age, one of the eldest in the field. And there's the Kiwi, Sarah Walker, spends a lot of the time on the Central Coast in Australia. Australian boyfriend is in fact her coach now. Keep eyes on her. Coming up in the second semi-final, of course, the Australians. Horokova from the Czech Republic. A lot of Northern European countries specialising in BMX. And then Chanson, a 30-year-old from France. So, the 2 eldest riders in this first semi-final. And Mi Li Yan, 20-year-old, local, and plenty of support from her, as you'd imagine. So it's a point system again. The top 8 riders to progress after 3 rounds of semis into the final.
From left to right, you'd have to say the French woman is in the best position on the inside lane.
Nelly set for some high voltage action in the women's BMX, the first semi-final. It's all about the first 10 seconds. That's 8 meters up there. They go from 0 to 60 kilometers an hour at the bottom of this ramp.
10 seconds. Okay, riders.
Okay, riders, random side. Riders ready, walking gate.
Away now, and it looks as though the Kiwi in the centre off to a flyer, but it's the inside run, which is all important as they head towards the first tabletop and the first big bitumen turn.
Yeah, Chansons and Walker from New Zealand out in front, taking on that step up to the step down. Now they're into the technical section. The women go up to the left-hand side of the track, into the second turn, and the French woman is in a great spot. Chanson is in front with Sarah Walker coming behind.
It's all about points as they head towards home now, the final bitumen turn. A safe run in the first of the semi-finals in the motors, and it'll be the French woman who'll cross. First position, Walker, Diaz, good points from them. Fandrick, Horokova, Cools, and Mi Li Yan with some work to do.
Well, that was good racing. First one's the worst one, but they spread out nicely. They gave each other plenty of room, got down that ramp and really hit that double with great velocity. All these girls realise how important each one of these runs are if they are to have a spot in the final. Cools found a way in the back of the pack and came unstuck there. Not good. Sorry, that was the rider from Denmark. That was Amanda Sorensen coming undone. Sarah Walker in second spot there. Smooth as, getting plenty of backside. There's a concentration around the second turn. Eyes on the target. Great power in the pedals, and she pins those turns smooth as.
Great start from Chanson as our second semi-final. And the standings. So, Chanson, Walker and Diaz with good minimum points. Remember, it's 1 point for first, and it's the top 8 riders with minimum points through. And 4 from each semi-final on the cut there. So, back to the top of the ramp, getting set for the second semi-final, and it's our first look at Reid, Speedy Reedy from Great Britain. Sinead Reid, almost a lay-down misère, but she was the only woman in the time trials that came a cropper.
Yeah, she sure was. Having a chat to a couple of the riders, there seems to be the tiniest little bump on that first turn, which just seems to be putting the riders off a bit. This is a BMX track, there are bumps in it. The first turn is coming unstuck for many riders. Here's our second heat.
And it contains the 2 Australians. Coming up later, male semi-finals will follow the female semi-finals. See, there's some big male riders yet to come. At the top of the course at the moment are the females in the second semi-final. So,
ladies and gentlemen, feel free to make some noise when you see your favorite riders out there. And Argentina, Maria Barranquilla.
Well, here we are with the second heat, the women's. It's an incorrect graphic that came up before. Maria Duto from Argentina. This girl is very strong. Holdy from Hungary in 2. Going down the line. Here she is. Nicole Callisto from Perth, Australia. Recently just moved to Sydney to train with her coach, Sean Dwight. Lieke Klaus from the Netherlands.
Won't this be a blistering semi-final as we move across the line containing 2 Australians. Second of the French riders, the Cogel. The USA, Jill Kittner, you'd imagine she will qualify comfortably.
She's red hot, she can go. Here she is.
Tanya Bailey, also from WA. All eyes on her. Both the Australians here, and there she is, the #1 seed, Reid. She's the only one that really stacked it heavily in a time trial. Again, this is the first time the women have raced each other. Important to get away well. The Australians don't want to get sandwiched. They're in the centre here, and no doubt Reid will be the one who'll have the inside running on that first turn.
Well, this is a red-hot heat. You've got Reid, Bailey, Kittner, and Callisto. 4 of the top riders in the one heat, so they've all got to get out in front.
Okay, ladder.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, walking in.
Both Australians away well, but have a look at Reid on the inside as she heads towards the tabletop in the first big bitumen turn. The Australians need to maintain contact.
Oh, she's gone down again. Sinead Reid has gone down just before that first turn. And Tanya Bailey is in second spot.
So the #1 seed, big concern for her. She did this in the time trial. The Australians tracking well, and it's the Frenchmen who'll lead them through the second half of this course. Major boil over here in the first semi-final of the women's BMX as we head towards the line, and the Australians tracking well.
Behind her, Jill Kittner, just manualing through the last half of the course. Le Cogel, Nicole Callisto, and Jill Kittner coming in 1, 2, 3. Tanya Bailey finishing up in 4th.
Unbelievable. So
Oh.
Callisto and Bailey have come a cropper, and some concern now for Reid. This is a major, major boil over in the BMX women's semi-final. She instigates to her fans, and there's a lot of them here. She's the queen of BMX racing, and she's having a lot of problems here in Beijing.
Oh, this is just such a shock. We'll get a look at the replay in a second. I mean, the start was nice. She had so much speed coming down that ramp. Here she comes, just going to the step up to the step down and just getting off balance, and it's just There's too much speed, and hitting that bitumen so hard. She's becoming really good friends with that first turn.
The Beijing bitumen bites hard too, and she knows all about it. She's taken all the bark off her right arm. And one imagine that left leg now is going to be sporting some bruises as well. But the Australian interest is both our girls, Bailey and Callisto, tracking well.
Oh, absolutely. You know, at the top half of this course, you could almost hear a sigh of relief from every single one of those girls. And didn't Leaky Klaus from the Netherlands do a great job of just riding over the top of Sinead's bike?
So, the Frenchman through. Callisto, great result. Kinser and Bailey comfortably through. A point system, 2 more races to go to decide the finalists.